प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिनां मध्ये महाभारतम्।
Why Krishna should give so much of importance to this one concept, sincerity. Here actually, Krishna straight away hits Arjuna hard. He doesn't want any loophole to be left. We always escape in one point. See, for example, you have a pot. Even if you pour 1000 liter and one hole you have, even if you pour 1000 liter milk, it will not. And at least let you be, see, two things. Either you should be completely sincere about trusting what I am saying is truth, or be very clear, whatever he is telling is just lie. If you can't practice, then whatever I am saying is a lie. Please be very clear. If you are not able to practice, then what is the use of this truth? What is the use of this truth? What I am saying is truth or lie will be decided only by you. Only by you it will be decided. If you are able to execute it, if you are able to imbibe it, then what I am speaking is truth. If you are not able to, then what is the use of the whole thing? Nothing. There is no use. 18 days, 3 hours of your time is waste and 3 hours of my time is waste. That's all. If we don't imbibe, if it doesn't transform our life, except wasting time, there is no other result. And what is happened here is not truth. Please be very clear. Whatever I spoke, whether it is truth or lie, will be decided only by the result of the words on your consciousness. If you are able to experiment with those words, one more important thing, please understand, you don't have to completely do it. If you have the courage to experiment, that's enough. If you just have the courage, anyhow, after Ali is talking all these things, why not test with these words? He is sitting and shouting for 3 hours. Why not test for 2-3 days? If that much of courage you have, that's enough. Nothing else is necessary. One thing. If that doesn't happen, me sitting and shouting, talking is like a Indian political meetings. Especially if you are in South India. Whether you want it or not, you have to hear some political meeting every year. Because they will put the loudspeaker throughout the city. Nothing can be done. One real incident. One day I was coming from a place called Pudukkottai in Tamil Nadu. From that place to our Bangalore ashram. On the way, suddenly we started hearing loudspeaker noise for 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers loudspeaker on the road, main road. And that guy who is speaking is using all slang words. And not even a single decent word. Except except the 2, 3 there is no other decent word. There is no other decent word. Complete slang words. And we can't escape because if you cross that road, you have to listen. 10 kilometers. And India, 10 kilometers takes at least half an hour. The roads are also great. Roads. Half an hour. And he is shouting, putting the loudspeaker. Unfortunately, we have to cross the stage also. The stage is also just next to the road. I was surprised. Only 4 old ladies are sitting in front of the stage. Really? On the stage there are more people than below the stage. On the stage, more people are there than below the stage. I asked one brahmachari. Somehow, fortunately, I did not stay in South India for a long time. In the young age itself, I left South India. I asked him, what is going on? He is talking all these slang words. Then the brahmachari said, what is this, Swamiji? He is speaking so decently. He is speaking so decently. Why are you blaming him? I said, is this decency? He said, Swamiji, you have not heard political meetings. That is why you are saying this slang. It is so decent. And I asked him, what is this? Only 4 old ladies are sitting there. No, Swamiji, that is why they put speaker 10 kilometers so that people can listen from the house itself. They don't have to come to the meeting. They can listen sitting in the house itself. And you don't have to go to meeting. Please understand, if we don't have the courage to experiment with the truths which we learn, this meeting also will become one more political meeting. That's all. Nothing else. Small story. Like this one political meeting. The guy, he got out of a mic, started speaking. Went on and on and on. Slowly few people left. Then few more people left. By and by, finally one guy is sitting. Only one old man with that shawl is sitting. Went on and on and on. Finally somehow I think he felt very tired. He stopped and he thanked everybody who is attending. No, really, in that political meeting also I heard. He is telling, oh dear people who are here like a ocean. Only 4 ladies are sitting. I thought that 4 ladies are spitting and creating ocean. They use the betel nut and betel leaf. They continuously spit. I thought he is mentioning about that ocean. And he is telling, oh, people who are here in front of me like an ocean. And he goes on. And I thought that 2, 3, 4 ladies who are sitting and spitting and making ocean. And these old ladies in the house, there will be always some fight with daughter-in-law. Where to go and sit? Some good entertainment. Let us go and sit there. Anyhow, in the end, they will give you some sari and something. Or some. You can get something, or if you don't get anything, you can remove some 2, 3 flag and bring it to the house to wipe your ground. Wipe the ground. At least you will get 2, 3 flag which is hanging there. You will get something. So for that reason, the 2, 3 old ladies go and sit there. And this guy finished his lecture. Only one old guy was sitting. He asked, I am so happy you are waiting for, at least you are sitting and listening. That guy said, No, I am the owner of the mic system. I am waiting for the mic system. I have to pack up and take the whole thing. Then this guy says, please forgive me, sorry, I did not bring the watch. That's why I don't know how long I am speaking. At least you should have put one watch here in front of me. I would have known the time and I would have stopped in time. The old man said, we forgot the watch, that is true. But we put the calendar, at least that you should have seen. We forgot the watch, but we have put calendar. At least you should have seen the calendar. These politicians, when they start speaking, and especially when you don't have people in front of you, they have courage. Nobody will throw stones. See, no problem. Whatever you want, you can speak. People can't throw stones from the house. When they are sitting in the house, either they listen or don't listen. No, you can't even escape. Simply you have to listen. When they are in the house, the danger of throwing stones is not there. So, they can speak whatever they want. If there is a crowd in front of them, then they don't speak much. They take care, because people may throw stone or something. Some problem may happen. Otherwise they go on and on and on. It never ends. Please understand, if we don't practice, if these words does not work on us, if we don't work with these words of Krishna, this meeting also will be one more political meeting, that's all. Maybe polite political meeting, that's all. Maybe polite. But please don't make this as one more political meeting. Let these words penetrate you. Let you experiment with the truth, with the words. If you don't experiment, at least be very clear mentally. I think whatever he is speaking is not truth. He is simply telling something, whatever he heard here and there, and this is not for me. At least let you be mentally clear that this is not truth. If you believe this is truth, then execute. If you think this is not truth, you will not be here. You will not come every day, and you will not sit here 3 hours. Even if you don't have any other work, naturally TV is there. You can sit with TV. You would have sat with TV. And there are so many other places to go. You choose to be here. You choose to listen. That itself shows you start thinking there is some truth behind these words. So when you think there is some truth, never wait to experiment with these words. Have courage and experiment it. Take one single idea. You don't even experiment. You don't even have to practice whole Gita. Take one single idea, one single concept, and imbibe that one thing to the core. To the core, let your whole being vibrate with that single thought. Vivekananda says, when you take up single idea, your blood should boil with that idea. Even your hair should stand towards that direction. Your bone, your thoughts, your body, your mind, the whole thing should be directed towards that one concept. Then success is sure. No doubt, success is sure. Please understand, here all you need to understand. Take up one concept and work with that. If you fail also, it's okay, nothing wrong. But have courage to work with that. If you succeed, you will know. this is truth, and you will be liberated. You will have that bliss. If it fails, at least you will know this is not truth, and you will be clear. You can start searching somewhere else. You can continue your search. So be very clear. The basic thing here Krishna is trying to tell is sincerity. The three group, prejudiced means negative, and just believing intellectually, that is rajas. Third, sincerity. Not only believing, courage to play with the words, courage to play with these ideas, courage to play with these ideas. Please do not miss the courage. Let these words penetrate you. One more thing. He goes on explaining. Ayus sattva balarogya sugha priti vivartana rasya snikta stira hritya ahara satvika priya. He says about the food of sattva, food for people of rajas, food for people of tamas. He goes on explaining what kind of food these people like and what kind of life these people live. What kind of understanding these people get in their birth. Important thing, what kind of understanding these people get in their life. See, same word can be understood in many different ways. As I was telling you the other day, person who heard Harichandra's story, in the end of the story, the Bhagavata Pandit asks one person, what did you understand? One guy gets up and says, even if you die, you have to speak truth. The other person says, for emergency, you can sell your wife, nothing wrong. From same Harichandra story, two different understandings. Please understand the word with its spirit. Small story. One monk was sent to Alaska to spread the God's mission, to spread the God's words. Before going, father says, the superior, he blesses him and sends, your rosary and wine will take care of you. Don't worry. Rosary is the Japamala. Rosary and wine will take care of you. After 1 year, the father superior, he comes to see this monk to ask and to supervise how the mission is going on. When he came, the monk receives him nicely, takes care of him. Then father asks, how is your mission? Monk says, Father, just as you said, rosary and the wine, both are taking care of me, but for them I would have died in the cold. And in course of their talking, this monk asks, Father, would you like to have a cup of wine? Father says, why not? Get it. Monk turned towards the kitchen and shouts, Rosary, bring a cup of wine. Word can be easily misunderstood. Word can be easily misunderstood. Please don't miss the word. Please don't miss the word. It is very easy to miss the spirit behind the word, the truth behind the word. Either experiment with courage. If you can't, at least let you be clear, this is not truth for you. That's all. That's all. Forget about it. At least you will continue to search somewhere else. If you think it is truth, and if you don't execute, experiment in your life, this will become a habit. Listening the truth and not practicing will become a mental setup. I tell you, that is a dangerous, most dangerous mental setup. People ask me, Swamiji, should I renounce everything to become enlightened? Should I become a sannyasi? I tell them, no, there is no need. Just do only one thing. Don't have the mental setup of receiving the truth and not practicing. That's all. That is the most dangerous thing which can happen to any being. Please be very clear. Receiving the truth, understanding it intellectually, not having the courage to practice it is the worst mental setup. That is the worst devil or demon which can catch you. Either be very clear, this is not for me. This is not truth. If you believe it is truth, then have courage to experiment it. You heard so many things. Krishna is not telling anything new throughout this chapter. This whole chapter, nothing new. He says only one thing. Let you be sincere. Sincerity is the straight way. I always tell people, honesty is the basic spiritual virtue. Sincerity is the basic spiritual virtue. First, be a gentleman, then you can be a spiritual man. Gentleman means honest to what we believe. Truth to the core. And never do anything without you being very clear about that truth. And never stop doing anything if you know that it is truth. A scientist is a person who is courageous enough to go behind the truth. When he does the research, wherever the research leads, he is ready to go. He is ready to go with that experiment. Same way, you must become an inner scientist. You must become a spiritual scientist. You should have the courage to go behind those words. You must be able to play with them. A small story. One Zen enlightened master and his disciple, both of them went to the river to take bath. Suddenly the disciple fell in the river and he is shouting, Master, save me, save me. Zen master says, you are Atman, save yourself. You are God, save yourself. This disciple is shouting, Master, first save me, then you can teach all your philosophy. Then you can teach all meditation. First please save me. Master says, stand up and save yourself. You can save yourself. Disciple says, no, Master, save me. Then you can teach me. Master shouts, fool, I am telling you, stand up. He got frightened. Just out of that fear, he simply stood up and saw water is only up to knee level. Water is only up to knee level. When you stand up you will understand the whole samsara sagara. Whatever you think as the great worries of your life will be only up to knee level. Not even up to knee level, up to ankle level. It will be just up to the ankle level. Because you are lying, you never stand up. You think you are drowning. You think you are drowning. Please be very clear. If you stand up, immediately you will realize water is only up to knee level. Whatever you think as whole samsara sagara is only up to knee level. Nothing. It's no way is going to affect you. But you need the courage to stand up. For example, the disciple, if he has decided, no, he is teaching all impractical things, I am drowning, instead of pulling me out, instead of helping me, he is what type of master? If he is blaming, naturally he would have gone with the river. He had the courage for 1 minute, guts to experiment with the master's words. You need that guts. That is what I say. Dhiraha. Courage to stand up and see the truth by yourself. Courage to experiment it. Nothing will be lost. If something can be lost, better let it be lost as early as possible. Let you be rid of that. If something which can be lost, if something can be lost by practicing the truth, let it be lost as early as possible. Earlier they are lost, better for you. Let you flood your being with truth. Whatever cannot stand, whatever will be washed away, let them be washed away. The earlier they are washed away, better for your being. Let whatever will be washed away, can be lost, let it be washed away, let it be lost from your being as early as possible. Here, Krishna explains about the sacrifice. Apalakankshi viryanyo vididrushto yadijjade yashtavyameveti manas samadaya cha satvikaha. Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the directions of scriptures as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. Sacrifice performed as per the regulation of the scriptures by those who don't desire the rewards of the sacrifice and with a resolute mind consider the performance of the sacrifice as their duty. This is sattva, mode of goodness. Here, you don't bother about anything. You don't bother about the end result. He is giving the whole gist of the Gita. How a sattvic man does the homa or yajna or sacrifice, and how Rajasic man does, and how Tamasic man does. He explains all the methods, how all the three are caught in different things. Devat vijat guru pragnya pujanam sauchamarjavam brahmacharyam ahimsa cha sariram tapa uchyate. Here he gives the things to be done by a person who is sincere. Surrender to the divine and to the spiritual master, Guru Pramya, surrendering to the Guru and the elders, keeping yourself clean, simple, pure and non-violent. Of course, again, these truths should be understood and imbibed in your life. Here he gives step by step. He explains, Anutpegakaram vakyam satyam priyahidaya idanchayate swadhyayapyasananchaiva vangmayantapa uchyate. The tapas, which is supposed to be done by words, is speaking truth, pleasing words, priyahitam chayat. Please understand, creating a healing effect through the words is important. Creating healing feeling through your words is a basic thing for spiritual sadhaka. You should not talk the words which will hurt others. Your very presence should be healing. When you sit with somebody, the person should feel, can I sit some more time with him? Can I spend some more time with him? Can I meet him tomorrow? Will I be able to see him once more? You should create that healing feeling in the other person. People should wait for you, not run away from you. Usually, we create such an effect. What happens? We create ceiling feeling. They just run away. Simple, single word, if it is used improperly, can destroy whole relationship. Whole relationship. Here, Krishna says, a spiritual person should use pleasing words and not agitating the others. Without agitating the others, you will not be arrogant. See, it is not even a morality, social morality. It's a spiritual practice. As I was telling you the other day, the words which you use, with the same words you will use, it will hurt you also. You will be using the same words towards you also. So you need to be clear about the words which you are using. And he says, regular study of spiritual literature. Regularly studying these type of great literatures. Because when these ideas again and again go into your being, you get the courage to experiment these truths. You get the courage to work with these truths. I tell you, any truth take up and try to do at least few times. For example, yesterday I was telling, don't continuously function based on the idea of me. Try with you. At least 10 times in your life, try that and see the effect of that in your life. And if it does not work out and if you throw it away, it's up to you. But at least 10 times try. You will see at least a glimpse of the truth expressed by Krishna. Mana prasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha. Saumyatvam. He says beautifully, Bhava samsuddhi vityedat tapo mana samuchyate. Satisfaction, Saumyatva, the word, we have no exact English translation. Saumyatva means feeling so comfortable, who makes you feeling totally relaxed, Saumya, in his presence. Gravity, self-control, purification of one's existence is austerities of the mind. Please understand, Saumyatva and these pleasing words, these are all the basic qualities which is supposed to be practiced by a spiritual person. Somebody asked Sugabrahma Rishi, what is the difference between enlightened man and avatara, incarnation? See, there are some people who have become enlightened. They are enlightened, but they can't help others. And I have seen one Swami, he was living in Himalayas, great enlightened person. And you will be surprised, whole day he will be smoking ganja. And no doubt he is enlightened. You may be surprised. Actually, in that chilam pipe, he will put one copper coin, smoke ganja. When he empties that chilam, it will be gold coin. I have seen with my own eyes. Then he will sell that coin and get some more ganja. He lived in a place called Uttarakashi. Uttarakashi is the place where he lived. Of course, I had great respect for him because he is a great tapasvi. And he will never wear any clothes. Naga sadhu. Naga means that sannyasis who don't wear clothes. In that cold they will live without clothes. Naga sannyasis. They are called Paramahamsas. Paramahamsa sannyasis don't wear clothes. They are allowed to wear clothes only when they go into the city to spread the divine mission. Otherwise they are not supposed to wear clothes. Paramahamsas live like a child. And this Swami, great Paramahamsa, when he empties his chilam, you will see it become gold coin. I asked him, Baba, you are great tapasvi, Atmajnani, Brahmajnani. Why are you smoking chilam? Then he said, a big elephant cannot be tied into a small hut. You have to make that elephant little dull, silent. Only then it can stay in that small hut. Like that, this Atman, after enlightenment, cannot stay in this body. I have to bring it down, little dull. I have to make it little dull. Only then it can stay in this body. Of course, their smoking is different and we smoke is different. Our smoking is different. Somebody came and asked me, Swamiji, Vivekananda used to smoke. Why I should not smoke? Swami Vivekananda used to smoke. Ramakrishna also used to smoke. Vivekananda used to smoke. Ramakrishna used to smoke. Why I should not smoke? I told him, Vivekananda has become enlightened. Then he smoked. You also become enlightened. Then you do whatever you want. Without achieving what they achieved, just doing what they did. Please understand, enlightened masters, what they do is totally different. And what you are supposed to do is totally different. And actually, they will be doing against what you are supposed to do. You are supposed to do all things to elevate you. They are supposed to do all things to bring them down. This person was in the Uttarakashi is an enlightened person, but he cannot help all the people. He cannot help everybody. His type is such, he will not come and help people. He will not heal somebody, or he will not teach somebody, he will not make somebody enlightened. He will not work with people. He is that type. There are some people who, after experiencing the truth, come out and share the truth with the world. Vivekananda, Paramahamsa Yogananda, so many great souls. Bhagavata says that people who come out and explain or share the truth, Krishna, like all these great souls, they are incarnations. And there is one set, just enlightened people. Then Sukabrahma is questioned, what is the difference between enlightened people and avatars, incarnations? Then Sukabrahma says beautifully, Saundaryatva, Tejastva, Saraswatya, and the power, Lakshmitva. See, Saundaryatva means, if you just see them, automatically you will feel like sitting and listening. Automatically you will feel like turning once more and seeing. And the grace, tejas, which simply attracts your mind, it is called Saundaryatva. Then next, tejas, a sharp radiating energy, clarity, is called tejas. Then Saraswatya means whatever difficult concept, thought, idea it is, very simple way it will flow from their tongue, where Saraswati is living. Above all, the Lakshmitva, just by their thought, the wealth will be there and the work will happen. Whatever they wanted to, whatever way they wanted things to happen. When all these things, qualities are radiated by somebody, be sure he is an incarnation. Here, Krishna says the same thing, Saumyatva. Please understand, even for incarnation, the Saundarya and Saumyatva is a quality. Is a quality. Now, surely we should imbibe this quality in our life. Always use the pleasing words. Never use sharp words. Never use disturbing words. And one more thing. Sometimes we don't even understand how our words disturb others. How we disturb others. We do not even know how our words disrespects or emotionally disturbs other being. We must be careful about the whole thing. Satkaramana pujartam tapodambena chaivayate kriyade tadiha proktam rajasamchalamatruvam. Here Krishna says about the people who are in Rajas, how they do the penance just for the sake of respect, honor and worship. They do the penance and it is not stable. When people don't respect them, they will stop doing it. They will do as long as people fall at their feet. If the respect is lost, they will stop all the tapasya. Mudakrage natmano yadvi daya kriyade tapaha parasyotsanadanatam vadattasamrutahrutam. Mudakrage natmano yatya pidaya kriyade tapaha parasyotsanadanatam va tattamasamudahrutam. Penance performed out of foolishness, with self-torture, or destroy or injure others is said to be more in mode of ignorance. Please understand exactly what I was telling. No black magic can be done. No evil spirit can be sent. Just forget about all these things. Never bother about all those things. That is just out of tamas. It can never work. It can disturb only himself. It will never disturb others. तादव्यमिति यत्तानं तीयतेनुपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतम्. Here about the dana, Krishna speaks. The same concept yesterday which I was telling, sharing, not with the attitude of giving, with the attitude of sharing, not expecting some punya, not expecting some VIP pass to enter into Vaikuntha. No, doing it just out of love and gratitude. Oh God, you gave me so much. Now let me share a little bit with the society, with the world. Just sharing, the attitude of sharing. Charity given out of duty, without expectation, means feeling committed. Giving is my commitment. It is my quality. I have to do that. Then it becomes real dana. At the proper time and place, unto a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. There are three kinds of dana. Understand? Annadana. Annadana does not mean only giving food. Giving food, clothes and whatever the physical needs. Next is Vidyadana. Not only giving education, whatever they need mentally. When somebody is depressed, if you give them one or two consoling ideas, it is Vidyadana. Somebody don't know how to clean the room, you teach him, it is Vidyadana. Somebody don't know how to cut the grass, you teach him, it is Vidyadana. And third is Jnanadana, giving spiritual knowledge. If you do Annadana, you will satisfy that person for 3 hours. After 3 hours again, he needs food. If you give Vidyadana, one Janma he will earn food for himself. If you give education, he will earn food for himself. He will make money and he will make food for himself. If you give Jnanadana, you satisfy that person for Janmas after Janmas. Annadana satisfies 3 hours. Annadana satisfies for 3 hours. Vidyadana satisfies that person for 1 Janma. If you give him education, if you teach him how to fish without giving fish, he will make his own food for 1 Janma. He will be satisfied for 1 Janma. If you give him Jnanadana, the spiritual knowledge, he will be fulfilled for Janmas after Janmas. He will never fall into the depression or into the samsara sagara Janmas after Janmas. Here, Jnana Dana is the ultimate dana. I tell you, just understand one thing. Even if you come and sat here accidentally, oh, some cutout is there, he looks so young, they are putting that he is speaking on Bhagavad Gita. Let us go and see what he is speaking. Even if you come here as an accident, just to check out, and you heard the whole Gita, be very clear. Naturally, it will help you in your life. At some point of time, you will remember these truths and execute them. You will remember these truths and execute them. And naturally, you cannot be the same person again. At some point, when you are about to do some mistake, you will remember this. These thoughts which has gone inside you, and you will move. You will correct yourself. This is what I call jnana. The jnana dana, the knowledge which you received now, will transform your whole life. Even if you don't practice it, these words are so powerful, automatically they will start working on you. They will start working on you. And naturally, you will not be the same person. the depth of the depression will be reduced. The depth of the suffering will be reduced. You will have the feeling that you are going to enter into a new life. Your life has become courageous. The new confidence will enter into your life. This is what I call Jnana Dana. This is the ultimate punya. Of course, doctor got that punya. Ultimate punya of giving the knowledge. No other punya can be equivalent to giving knowledge, spiritual knowledge. Giving food, 3 hours satisfaction. Giving clothes or giving vidya, education is one life satisfaction. Giving this knowledge, spiritual knowledge, janmas after janmas, souls will be satisfied. Here, the dana, which is done purely out of the feeling of sharing, Krishna says, is sattvika, ultimate good, an ultimate purity. And one more thing, only with Jnana Dana, person who gives never loses anything. With all other danas, person who gives, he will have a little less. See, with the Annadana, who gives will lose, who receives will have. With Vidyadana, he will give, he will not lose, but he will have the same thing. With the Jnana Dana, I tell you the secret, the more you share, more it grows. Here, win-win. You also receive, it automatically grows in the person who shares. And I tell you, it's an important secret. Don't think only you are getting benefited. By expressing these things, even I am getting benefited. A simple example you should understand. When a lady gives birth to a child, it is not that she is only the child is given birth. She is also given birth as a mother. Till that moment she is only a woman. Only after she gives birth she is called mother. When a child takes birth, not only the child is taking birth, mother also is taking birth. Till that moment she is not mother, she is only woman. The moment she gives birth to a child, not only child, mother also is taking birth. Only from that moment she is mother. Till that point she is not mother. So be very clear, when a child happens, child and mother, both of them take birth. Because till that moment she is only woman, she is not mother. She is a woman, that's all. She is not mother. Only when she gives birth, she is mother and child also given birth. Same way, when some of you receive the spiritual knowledge, not only you, I also become perfect. That is why in the Vedic system, before starting any spiritual lessons, they recite the mantra Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sagaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavitvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This mantra means let both of us achieve perfection. Let both of us grow. Let both of us help each other. Let both of us not have enmity towards each other. Understand? Here the mantra doesn't say, let you learn. No. He says, let both of us learn. The Vedic system is so humble. And I tell you the honest truth. When I speak, I also learn. Somebody asked me, I think day before yesterday, when I was coming, Swamiji, what you are going to speak? I said, who knows? Just like you, I also sit and listen. Just like you, I also sit and listen. Here all I have is only slokas. I read the slokas and whatever comes spontaneously, that's all. Just like you, I am also sitting and listening. How you are benefited, same way I am also benefited. Both of us are growing. Only an egoistic person thinks a disciple only is benefited. No. Master also benefits. He can become master only when a disciple happens. Only when a child is given birth, she is mother. Only when a disciple becomes enlightened, he is master. Otherwise he cannot be called as master. If she is not able to give birth to a child, she will not be called as mother. Same way, if you are not able to become enlightened, I cannot become master. So be very clear. By sharing this knowledge, I also grow. Not only you, I also grow. A person who shares with a simplicity and humility, who is very clear, honest about the whole truth of sharing, who is not caught in the false ego. His dana, his sharing is sattvic and related to sattva guna. When I answer some questions, if I don't know, sometimes straight away I tell, no, I don't know the answer. I don't know. People ask me, what is this, Swamiji? You are an enlightened master. How can you say you don't know? I tell them, only an enlightened master can say I don't know. Only an enlightened person can be courageous enough to say, when you don't know, that you don't know. To answer, even without knowledge, doesn't need enlightenment. That needs only foolish hypocrisy. You don't need enlightenment for that. Here, the honest, straightforward approach to the truth is what Krishna says, Sattvika Dana. Sattvika Dana. Here, whatever way I experience the truth, simply I express it, share it honestly without any reservation. That is what is Sattvika Dana by Krishna's words. And he goes on explaining about the Rajasadana and Tamasadana. Adesa kale yattanam apatrepyascha diyate asatrada vajat vasanyatam taddana samudagrutam. Charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons, or without proper attention and respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. He says about the tamasa dana, which creates trouble for himself and for others. For example, for an antisocial element, if you give $1 million dana, what will happen? It will be used only for destruction. This type of danas only Krishna calls as a tamasa or ignorant dana. He goes on explaining the importance of sincerity, Shraddhatraya. Understand again and again and again. I want all of you to understand this one single concept, one solid truth. Have courage to experiment with the truth which you heard in all these chapters, in all these days from Parabrahma Krishna. Let me spend few minutes answering all the questions. Think what I will do day after tomorrow onwards, after 4:30. You can come to the ashram. Let me answer these questions because tomorrow we may not have time to answer these questions. Today itself I wanted to answer all the questions. Please take out the questions, anything is there inside. Swamiji, you said that if we give importance to negative thoughts, samskaras get embedded in the unconscious zone. Please explain. Vastu consultant recommends changes in home for improving positive energy, balance. And if we can't do it, then what? If you can't do it, then forget about it. What is there? You see, give importance to Vastu, then Vastu will become automatically alright. Vastu means your consciousness. Change the Vastu, automatically Vastu will change. Vastu is really a great science when you do it. But nowadays, so many, lot of rules, unnecessary rules added, and it has gone to an extreme foolishness. It has gone to extreme foolishness. So, whatever you can do it, otherwise don't bother, just change the Vastu, that's enough. That is simply enough. Changing Vastu will automatically change the Vastu. Just bother about Vastu, Vastu will take care of itself. I always tell people, Vastu and all these things are 1 volt, 2 volt current. Vastu is 1000 volt current. Just change the Vastu. Vastu will change. I have spoken extensively on Vastu and the science of the outer space and inner space in the lecture called From Place to Space. If you are too much interested in Vastu, I have given a lot of scientific explanation in that. How the Vastu is science and how you can change the Vastu without changing the house by balancing the energy. If you have too much interest in the Vastu, try to listen to the discourse From Place to Space. That's a discourse that will give you more detail. Swamiji, the other day you mentioned on the question of the reason for the birth, meditation, liberation and this whole cycle, but the answer was not given. Could you please provide the answer? Curious listener and devotee. Understand, I spoke about that question so that you will start thinking about that. The question cannot be answered. The question is used as a technique to create seeking or quest in your being. The question is not supposed to be answered, and you have to find out your own answer. Atman or divine is the answer, but with this word, what have you understood? The questioner is here. If you are here, tell me. The reason for birth, meditation, and liberation is consciousness, divine, God. Now I answered. What have you understood? Nothing. One more word, that's all. And at the most, you may go to the Oxford Dictionary and refer meaning for these words and have more confusion. Nothing else, that's all. Understand, this question cannot be answered. You need to experiment with this question. Let you contemplate. Let you be disturbed by this question. You will achieve the state in which you will never be disturbed by anything else. Dear Swamiji, do your mother's prayers work for her children? Not only for her children, it can work for the whole world. You can pray for the whole world, it will work. How can we differentiate intuitive decision and impulsive decision? Now, in this information age, one's decision will impact many lives directly or indirectly. Can you kindly please help us in understanding this? The moment you have the doubt whether it is intuitive decision or impulsive decision. It is impulsive decision. Intuition will not leave any doubt. One more thing. In a group, if your decision is intuition, you will have the tremendous power to convince the whole group and lead the whole group. You will not only have the word as a decision, you will have the power to execute the decision. You will have both. You will have decision and power to execute the decision, both in your life. All the enlightened masters, either I have read or heard about them, left their home at least for some number of years to experience enlightenment. Is this necessary? If not, why did they do it? They did it to understand it is not necessary. They did it to understand it is not necessary. What to do? Unless you do, you don't understand sometime, it is not necessary. People ask me again and again, Swamiji, you did so much of tapasya and became enlightened. Is it not necessary we also should do all this tapasya? Please understand, I tell you the truth, honest truth. I did so much of tapasya because I was a fool. I did not know, so I did it. For you, there is no need. Simple, understand this simple example. There is one lock. 10,000 keys are lying. And I do not know which key will open. So I have to work with all 10,000 keys one by one, one by one, one by one. I have to experiment. Suddenly, one key opened. Opening did not take time. Experimenting with the 10,000 keys took me 10 years. Understand? Opening took only 1 second. Experimenting with this 10,000 key took me 10 years of tapasya. Now, what is the need for you to experiment with 10,000 keys? Here I am giving you the set of key. Straight away open and experience. Straight away open and experience. Straight away use this key and open. There is no need for you to waste your 10 years with 10,000 keys. Waste your whole life with 10,000 keys. I had to do because I did not have a right person to tell, this is the key, take it and open. So I had to play with all 10,000 keys till the lock opens. For you, there is no need. Why should you waste your life playing with 10,000 keys? Neither you have time, nor you have energy. Here I am, straight away giving you the key. I have given the best keys. Straight away use them. You will open it within seconds. And open the door. Enjoy the treasure which is in your consciousness. So, you don't have to be a fool like me. You don't have to do the same mistake which I did. So, there is no need for you to do all this tapas and all these things. Just use this key, at least one key. In the 16 days, I have given at least 10-12 keys. Take up some one key and work with that key, and you will see that you will open the door and experience the ultimate truth and enjoy the treasure. When everything is divine in the universe, how can there be good and bad, happiness and sadness, lower level and upper level, Jivatma and Paramatma, permanent and non-permanent, etc.? Is this not true only in the eyes of the perceptor? Yes. Only in the eyes of the perceptor, good and bad. In the reality, there is no good and bad. In the reality, there is no good and bad. Be very clear. When you achieve that state, there is no good and bad. In the normal level, in the Vyavakarika level only, there is something called good and bad. Respected Paramahamsa Sri Nityananda, my love and pranams to you. Kindly answer these questions either now or at such time as you feel it is appropriate. If God is such at a high vibration as to be unaware of deaths caused by the catastrophes, just as an SUV is unaware of the ants it crushes. The other day I was talking about the high frequency. He is questioning from that. Then does it not also necessarily follow that God would not even hear our cries for help when we are being swept up in those catastrophes? And if that is the case, do any of our prayers reach God? Nice question. Understand, when I said that example, the frequency of ants is different, frequency of man is different, frequency of God is different. I don't mean your prayers don't reach them. Your prayers don't reach God. But the reaction will not be as you expect. The response will not be as you expect. Whatever you see in the movie, the Vitlacharya movies, a full light will come out of the hand. Push, it will come and fall you. And the 80-year-old lady will become suddenly 18-year-old woman. And she, what happened to me? I have become new person. And please do not expect that. That is what I meant. His frequency is different. When I said that, do not think like a movie. You will suddenly open your eyes and you will see everything is new. No. Nothing of that sort will happen. That is what I said. I meant by the word that frequency is different and your frequency is different. Your prayers do reach. Existence responds to your thoughts. Consciousness responds to your thoughts, not in the way in which you wanted. For example, in the dream, you are thinking you are being chased by a tiger. You are dreaming. You are chased by a tiger. You are running. In the dream you are shouting, please get me something. Get me some weapon. I have to kill this tiger. You are shouting. The friend who is sleeping next to you, if he just brings and gives you a sword or a rifle or a gun, either you may shoot him or shoot yourself. You may shoot him or shoot you. That is not going to help you. The real help is that guy should just give you one kick and tell you, hey, get up. What are you talking? What are you doing? You'll suddenly wake up and realize the whole thing is dream. Understand, he has responded to your prayers, but not in the way in which you wanted. He responded to your prayers, but not in the way in which you wanted. You are being chased by a tiger. You are shouting, oh my friend, give me a gun, give me my gun, give me my gun. If he just responds to your prayer as you want, just giving gun, what you will do? You may shoot him or shoot yourself. But that is not the right response. He just woke you up, that's all. That's the right response. So when I tell you that his frequency is different, it is not that he is not hearing your prayers. He listens to your prayers and attends it, but not in the way in which you wanted. The way in which you will have the right result. He attends, he does which is good for you. Sometimes he answers your prayers as you want. Sometimes he answers your prayers as he wants. Understand, if he is answering as he wants, he is compassionate towards you. If he is answering as you want, he is just tired of your nagging. And he says, take it and get out. Let me get rid of you. Let me get rid of you. Please be very clear. I always tell people, two things. Making your dreams into reality and making you understand the reality itself is dream. making your dreams into reality. He gives you Shakti, making you understand this reality itself is your dream. He gives you Buddhi. He may do whatever he wants, but whatever is good for you, he does it. Understand? When I say his frequency is different, I mean he responds in his own way, not as you expect him to respond. Referring to the business secret, which out of your love and grace you revealed to us the other night. If the Guru is unaware of when he visits us in the dreams, and if his appearance in dreams is directly the product of our own faith, then is he similarly unaware of our prayers to him? If that is the case, are the perceived answers to our prayers nothing more than merely the product of our ideas about what our Guru will or will not do for us? Understand? I said the experience happens to you out of your faith, but I never said it is your mere mind. Understand? When you have faith, Parashakti responds using the form of the Guru, using the form of the Master, and Master also can become aware. See, for example, if 10,000 people are having my darshan at a time, I can become aware of that the moment I close and I want to download that information. As and now, the mind with which I am playing, I am just using it for this work. For example, here watch is lying, this file is lying. If I see, I can see the watch. But as and now I am not seeing the watch, I don't know the time. But in any moment I turn, I can know the time. As and now, I do not know how many are having my experience, how many are seeing me in darshan. But the moment I close and turn, I can see. There is all those statues. Here, because I am seeing you, I am not seeing that. It is not that I can't see that. A single moment I can see that. Same way, who is having my darshan? It's not that I can't know about it. This moment, if I close the eyes, I can know. But as and now, I am using that mind to see you all. One more thing, why I said it is not under the Master's control, it is actually your sincerity also plays a role. When you are not sincere, even God cannot help you. Even God cannot help you. For example, if you have to be rescued from the water, at least you need to stretch your hand. Otherwise, you will pull the person who is rescuing you. Here, understand, your perceived answers are not merely product of your ideas. No. Your perceived answers are from the Master, from the Divine. When I made that statement, I meant because of your trust, you get the vision, darshan. Otherwise, people will start asking for darshan. It will become like a profession. And you need tremendous surrender to have that type of experience of darshan and visions. And masters can know the moment they want to know. It is not that they are unaware of it. So please be very clear. It is a whole complete conscious process which Master is aware of when he wants to. Usually, they do not interfere in Parashakti's work. I generally don't interfere. Whenever people come and tell me, Swamiji, I saw you in the dream, I saw you in the darshan, you healed me, you helped me, I always tell them, no, not me, Parashakti. Your faith towards the divine energy used my form to help you. As long as I understand I am not, Parashakti will use my form to help you. The moment I think I am, this form will be thrown away in the dustbin. As long as you are out, God will stay in your house. The moment you enter, God will leave. In our body, if we don't live, divine will live. If we say, yes, I only came and gave darshan, come, give me pranami a little bit and put this in the hundi. The moment we say, I only did that, immediately Parashakti will stop using your form. All I can say is only one thing. Because I vacated this house, she is using this house to bless you. That's all. I have vacated. I have given this for her to rent. No, without collecting rent. I have asked her to stay without asking for rent. So the Parashakti divine is using this form. That's all. Otherwise, I have nothing to do. It is not done by me. So please understand. Many people come and tell me, Swamiji, I had darshan of you and you healed me. I have become all right. I had your darshan and you gave me the answer. It's all your grace. I tell them, no. Your deep, sincere trust and faith towards the master or God or Guru, that has guided you. The other day, one person, he came to me. It seems he is deeply dedicated to Paramahamsa Yogananda, great master who lived in Los Angeles. He is a devotee of Paramahamsa Yogananda. He does that Kriya Yoga for so many years. Suddenly one day, he was sitting and weeping, praying to Yogananda, please show me a living master. Yogananda gave darshan and gave him the website ID. That's a strange thing. He says, he gave me your website address, Swamiji, www.dhyanapidam.org, and asked me to go and see the website. And I was, of course, this strange thing. He says, I went to the website and saw you and immediately felt connected and came and met you. And he told me, your grace only it happened. I said, no. Your faith towards Paramahamsa Yogananda, your master, he shows you the living master. Sometimes these masters who left the body, they always guide the disciples to the living masters. And so many incidences. Another one day, one more person was sitting and praying to Paramahamsa Yogananda only, to show a living master in his samadhi. Suddenly, for no reason, we went there. And he saw me and came with me. And when I put my hand on his head and blessed, suddenly he entered into the ecstasy and started, the tears started pouring. He was in that same mood for hours. And he told me, 12 years ago when I did the meditation with Paramahamsa Yogananda, Yogananda's technique, the experience which I had first time, the same thing repeated this moment, Swamiji. Some connection. Masters always guide the disciples to the living masters. I always tell people, never think you need to spread me. There are already so many people, my marketing agents. They are all there. Paramahamsa Yogananda, Ramakrishna, Mahavatar Babaji, all these people, they are doing the mission. Nothing else needs to be done. All right. If Atma is made or is Swayambhu, why body was required for its movement? Atma is Swayambhu. Body is not required for the Atman. You see, please be very clear. Body only requires Atman. Atman doesn't require body. Somebody tells Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan, to live in the Arunachala, 6 rupees enough per month. In those days, 6 rupees is a big amount. 6 rupees enough per month. And I can do Atma Sadhana. Bhagavan says, fool, to live body and mind itself is not necessary. Why do we need 6 rupees? So, to live body and mind is not necessary. Only body needs Atman. Atman doesn't need body. If Atma is not creating karma and body is creating, then Atma is only the carrier of karma. Is it true? Atma is not even a carrier of karma. In the subtle bodies, yesterday we see the 7 bodies. The subtle bodies are only carrying the karma. Atma doesn't carry the karma. Like Arjuna, I have my own battle to fight, but instead of it being the Mahabharata, it is a law school court competition. I know what has to be done, but it seems as if I am lacking the focus and energy to accomplish them. Am I lacking sincerity? How do I build it? It's a nice question. Just don't bother, relax and do it. Divine will take care. This question is answered for the questioner, not the question. Atma, indestructible, etc. So is everlasting. From where it originated? If this Ishwar, God, Paramatma is regulating, then is it the same Ishwar who made Atma? Understand? Atma, Ishwar, Paramatma, these are all different trademarks, that's all. Same pizza, different shops, different trademark, same way, same experience, different words. Atma, God, Paramatma, so many different words, just trademarks. So don't bother. Eat someone pizza, that's enough. Eat someone experience, divine experience, that's enough. Nothing else is necessary. To Nityananda Swamiji, respected Swamiji, I have been blessed by you. My back pain has decreased considerably. This was only possible by your grace. Attending the Gita discourses, which has been flowing from your heart, and the energy emanated from these talks has really helped me. Not only pain, but great peace and bliss. I am so grateful and thankful for being in your presence and knowing you. My pranams. I am assured that you are, and I am not able to read, here for me and my family. Oh, with love. Of course, it's not a question, just a gratitude note. Dear Swamiji, I have been attending your discourses since last Sunday. When I am in your presence, I feel so blissful and feel lost in your presence. I feel like I have fallen in love with you in a very pure way. I then go home and dream of you, that it is sometimes hard to distinguish if I am at your discourse or dreaming. The problem is my sensitivity has heightened so much that my emotions are like a seesaw going up and down constantly. For example, I lose my temper with crazy drivers. I find it hard to have compassion for selfish people. I start to feel lonely, unable to fit in with anyone. I find it difficult to have a conversation with people as I did before. These days I just feel like being alone and being quiet. Does this mean I have too many engrams in my 7 bodies? Already I am starting to feel sad that your discourses will be over soon, but my heart feels full of life. How can I deal with these negativities? Understand, the initial level, this all will be little struggle. But when you grow in sensitivity, you will really feel compassionate towards everybody. When you feel compassionate towards the selfish people also, your compassion is fulfilled. Accept people as they are, even if they don't accept you as you are. That will happen when you grow in the maturity. Of course, this is one phase. This is a good phase, nothing wrong. You are growing, but this is not end. Go deep, you will experience. Respected Swamiji, I am one of the sheep lion. Now I want to roar. How? Just roar, that's all. There can be no how. The moment you ask how, you again forget you are lion. Just roar, that's all. Nothing else needs to be done. So, let us all experience the sincerity and imbibe, experience the truths of Parabrahma Krishna. Let us pray to him to give us all the sincerity and experience of the truth which he is teaching through the Gita to all of us, and let him make us experience, establish ourselves in the eternal bliss, Nityananda. Thank you. Vasudeva Sudam Devam Gamsachanuramardanam Devagi Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum